Hi there, I'm Tony Stone, and welcome to Killer Confessions. By the summer of 2023, April Holt, a mother of two and a vibrant positivity coach, had cultivated a substantial online presence with over 200,000 followers on TikTok. April meticulously built her unique and optimistic online image around what appeared to be a happy and fulfilling home life. Her posts often shared inspiring stories of overcoming adversity and manifesting positive outcomes, leaving her audience with messages of hope and encouragement. She'd often sign off with uplifting words, but yeah, keep growing y'all, keep manifesting, and have a great hamburger. However, the seemingly perfect online facade shattered in late July, when April was tragically found unresponsive in the bathroom of her home. She would succumb to her injuries days later. While law enforcement initially seemed content to categorize the case as a tragic suicide, the 29-year-old's mother, Jamie, instinctively knew better. This is the harrowing story of a mother's unflinching fight for justice, a battle against official conclusions and a relentless pursuit of the truth. Let's take a closer look at the life and mysterious death of April Holt. April Holt celebrated her 29th birthday in early July 2023. This young entrepreneur from Antioch, Tennessee, had already achieved remarkable feats in her life. An independent lash technician, April had courageously left her conventional job to venture out on her own, successfully building her own business and embracing the freedom of being her own boss. In her own words, reflecting on her journey, she shared, "Happy 29th birthday to me. I am blessed to experience another year of life. I have lived through 10,585 days." As April reflected on her greatest achievements, her most profound gratitude was reserved for her family, especially her two beloved children, 11-year-old Serenity and her 7-year-old son, Denzel. April was a deeply engaged and loving mother, and she generously shared the best aspects of her family life with the world through her popular TikTok account. She focused on uplifting positivity videos, presenting a spiritual life, and coaching her vast following of over 200,000 on the powerful value of manifesting the life you desire. Her videos were often incredibly motivating, filled with affirmations like, "I just pray and send good energy to anybody who's seeing this. I hope you have an amazing day on purpose. Be intentional and grow just a little progress over perfection." At other times, her content was simply goofy and lighthearted. Over the years, a few of April's posts also became deeply honest and revealing, offering glimpses into her personal struggles. Her homeschooling experience as a child, in particular, was a notably sore point for her. She openly posted about what she described as her isolation from society, a challenging experience she bravely learned from and ultimately overcame in her teenage years. April and her husband, 33-year-old Donovan Holt, navigated the ups and downs of their marriage in the public eye, often sharing their journey online. They recounted their origin story, a tale of friends who became best friends, then lovers, and eventually husband and wife, and parents to daughter Serenity, whom April had when she was a teenager, and their son, Denzel. Donovan, in a candid moment, articulated the foundation of their bond, being best friends. That came first. "Honestly, if we weren't friends first, it wasn't the last. That's been the base of the whole relationship. The foundation was that we were friends, even through the bullshit. We can joke around and maintain that friendship. It's what kept us through our separation. Honestly." April echoed his sentiments, affectionately calling him, "My bestest friend ever, the best friend I could ever ask for, and I married him." Their relationship certainly had its rough patches, including a significant period of separation that Donovan openly mentioned. The couple also grappled with financial hardship, debilitating bouts of depression, and serious health issues. Always the optimist, April consistently framed their story as a shared journey of overcoming adversity, transforming their struggles into a testament to resilience. The narrative she presented always culminated in a triumphant tale of enduring love and ultimate success. On the morning of Friday, July 28th, April spoke briefly with her mother, Jamie, on the phone. They had made plans to see the Barbie movie that afternoon, but April regretfully informed her mother that she couldn't make it. They agreed instead to meet at their church the following day. Just a few hours later, Jamie received a phone call, one that would forever change her life. It was Donovan on the other end. He frantically told her that April had been rushed to the hospital. Their young son, Denzel, had discovered her in the bathroom, in the shower, with a plastic bag taped over her head. April wasn't breathing. Jamie recounted the devastating call. We were going to go see the Barbie movie. She said, "Donovan has to work. I can't go to the movie, but I'll meet you at church in Blast." The phone rang, and it was Donovan, and he said he was upset, kind of like in a panic upset. He's like, "We found April." She wasn't breathing, and so she's in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. At the hospital, Jamie recalled that Donovan continued to act strangely, exhibiting a demeanor that struck her as unusually detached. He was not expressing the kind of profound distress and confusion one would expect from a distraught husband, she thought. Instead, he passively allowed her to make all of the critical medical decisions regarding April's treatment as they desperately fought to save her life. Jamie observed Donovan holding his head in his hands, rocking back and forth, a gesture that seemed more performative than genuine grief. After 3 agonizing days of further emotional torment, on July 31st, April had still not regained consciousness. She was tragically declared dead from her injuries. In November, the autopsy report was finally released. The results were not at all what Jamie had expected. The medical examiner concluded that the primary cause of death was suffocation. Furthermore, the conclusion reached by the Metro Nashville police was that there had been no foul play involved in April's death. In the wake of this official conclusion, investigators informed Jamie Dickerson that her daughter's case would be closed. There was nothing further to investigate. Jamie, however, rejected this decision outright. She defiantly told investigators that she would continue to seek answers herself, and then she walked out on them. Jamie vividly recalled her resolve. After they closed April's case, DA and everybody agreed to close it. I got up, marched out of that room, and I said, "I'm not done. I'm going to keep investigating." Jamie knew her daughter intimately. She understood that both unwavering faith and remarkable resilience were qualities that April possessed in abundance. Crucially, Jamie also believed with every fiber of her being that there was no way April would have ever chosen to abandon her beloved children. Someone had undeniably taken her life, and Jamie was convinced she knew exactly who that person was. 2 weeks prior to her death, April had filed for divorce, a significant step that was not, surprisingly, the first time in their turbulent marriage. The marriage had been undeniably rocky. Indeed, the couple had initially sought a divorce years earlier, which had led to a 3-year separation. In a video from that earlier period, Donovan candidly discussed their separation. "Okay, so the story is that we are getting divorced because of our decision. She's my best friend. I still love her to death. We still got a child together. We're still going to be hanging out. She has a path to go. I got a path to go. But our paths are parallel. We're always going to be next to each other. And who's to say what's going to happen in the future?" April emphasized their enduring friendship, no hard feelings. "This is not a messy divorce or anything like that. We don't do that. This is like he said, this is my best friend. So, we're good, y'all. For real. Like for real. For real. Promise y'all." April and Donovan separated, but they never formally cut ties. They continued to present a united and happy front to their online followers, maintaining the illusion of a perfect life. Perhaps some of this was genuine affection, or perhaps they were deeply entrenched in a profoundly unhealthy cycle, because after an extended separation, the two decided to rekindle their romance and give their relationship another try. In their videos, they often prided themselves on their supposed ability to forgive, to embrace open lines of communication, and to grow as individuals while together. However, the darkest moments of their relationship, the true depth of their struggles, seemed never to reach April's carefully curated TikTok account. But the arguments must have escalated significantly, unlike previous occasions when she sought to separate. In July 2023, April was not backing down. She definitively told her mother that she was holding firm and leaving Donovan for good, signaling a final break. Donovan must have been just as certain of this impending separation. Jamie later learned a chilling detail: he had pawned his wedding ring just a week before April died. On July 28th, the very day that April was found unconscious in her shower, she and Donovan had been embroiled in an argument. The precise details of their disagreement remain agonizingly unclear. That morning, their son Denzel, only 7 years old, heard his parents fighting, but he could not distinguish the specific words that were being exchanged. He later recounted the horrific day to his grandmother, Jamie, in fragmented memories. Jamie shared Denzel's recollection on July 28th. She woke up, drank her coffee, journaled as usual, enjoying her peaceful morning, hugged and kissed her 7-year-old son, Denzel, and her husband then went into the bathroom and began to argue and fight. My 7-year-old grandson put his ear to the door and heard his fighting, and he looked underneath to see both of their feet. He then listened some more, but he couldn't understand what they were saying. He then ran to his room. His dad shortly after came into his room, and he got him dressed and he fed him. And he then had him go check on his mom. He asked him to go check on his mom. 911 was then called. Jamie continued, detailing the horrific aftermath. We got to the hospital and she had no brain function and no blood flow to her brain. We did not find out about the bag, which was not disclosed to us for over 6 hours. In that time, her husband had went back to the apartment 2 times, not knowing what was. I don't know what he was doing there. On July 31st of 2023, my daughter was pronounced dead, and I want justice. What followed was a relentless fight that Jamie would need to wage. A determined campaign to apply public pressure and finally get the attention of both the Nashville police and the district attorney's office. She began by seeking exposure, reaching out to local news stations and area celebrities, and regularly posting about the case on her social media, tirelessly trying to draw attention to April's plight. It was an uphill battle. After the investigation had been officially closed, it became incredibly difficult, almost impossible, to gain any traction in the mainstream media. Coverage of April's case on major outlets at that time completely ceased. Jamie expressed her frustration. So guys, I wanted to let you guys know something, which I don't understand if I'm doing something wrong or how I reach out. But there has not been one news channel in the local Nashville area that has picked up April Holt's story. My daughter, not one, from day one. And it's been 14 months, and I've reached out to Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 7, Channel 5, any channel out there, including I've reached out to many of the celebrities that are out here. Not one will even respond or take anything on. But Jamie did not only campaign online. She formally requested the full case file and began her own meticulous research. By lodging a formal complaint with the Community Review Board in Nashville, Jamie effectively forced a comprehensive review of how April's case had been initially handled. Eventually, the Metro Nashville Police Department, under renewed pressure, launched a second investigation. 4 months later, they returned with a detailed 47-page report. While this reinvestigation did not immediately prompt a change in the categorization of the case or the official nature of April's death, it did provide a wealth of crucial detail for Jamie to meticulously scrutinize. She tirelessly combed through the report and all related documentation over many, many hours, her determination unwavering. The days turned into weeks and months, as Jamie painstakingly worked through what was available, desperately trying to make sense of the complex evidence she now had to work with. Meanwhile, the grieving mother also focused on providing a stable and supportive home life for her heartbroken grandchildren. She posted openly about taking Serenity and Denzel to grief counseling, acknowledging their immense pain. She also shared how their persistent nightmares kept her and her husband awake at all hours, highlighting the lingering trauma. Jamie also spoke openly about her own profound grief, even publishing a moving book about her bereavement process entitled Grieving Through Grace. She shared her publishing plans, and the proceeds that come from this book will also be publishing a children's book called Grieve With Me, and that will be the next one that will be in the series, and then Grieving Through Grace. The next chapter is the one that will follow this book. She also became a vocal advocate against domestic violence, her personal tragedy fueling her passion. Many of her insights powerfully highlighted the complex and often hidden dynamics at work in abusive relationships, emphasizing that abuse does not always look the same or the way we expect it to. During this period, there was also the ongoing struggle to keep the children together, a further source of anxiety. In the months following his wife's death, Donovan Holt unexpectedly relocated to Texas. Not surprisingly, he expressed a desire for his son, Denzel, to join him there. Jamie's relationship with her former son-in-law, already strained, grew increasingly tense. In April of 2024, Jamie abruptly ceased her online posts detailing her concerns over April's case, announcing that she had been placed under a gag order, a legal restriction on what she could publicly say. While her online advocacy took a necessary pause, Jamie's dedication to seeking justice for April nonetheless moved forward with undiminished force behind the scenes. Initially, investigators had claimed that April showed no signs of trauma stemming from the incident that had caused her death, a statement that Jamie found deeply unsettling. According to Jamie, there were, in fact, visible signs on April's body at the hospital that strongly suggested this claim was not true. April had noticeable bruises. The autopsy report itself recorded distinct marks on her neck, her thighs, and her ankles, contradicting the initial assessment. She even had a gash on her inner thigh, a deeply concerning injury. The most significant piece of evidence in this reinvestigation report, which had been inexplicably overlooked by the initial investigation, could no longer be ignored. There was only one set of fingerprints on the plastic bag found taped to April's head, and only one set of fingerprints on the duct tape used to secure it. Crucially, those fingerprints were not April's. They were a definitive match to Donovan Holt. In September, armed with this damning information, Jamie bravely confronted her former son-in-law directly. During this emotionally charged conversation, Donovan, faced with undeniable evidence, finally confessed. Jamie immediately went to the police with the confession, which she had wisely recorded, providing irrefutable proof. In light of this astonishing development, April's autopsy was urgently reviewed, and its conclusion was finally justly changed. The manner of death was formally recategorized to a homicide, a monumental victory in Jamie's tireless fight. On September 20th, 2024, the MNPD Metro Nashville Police Department proudly announced that Donovan Holt had been arrested in San Antonio, Texas, after he confessed to killing his wife directly to detectives. Donovan was subsequently indicted by a grand jury for reckless homicide, evidence tampering, and false reporting. Jamie shared the long-awaited news with her supporters. I also want to update you that there has been an arrest. The detective called me and did tell me that Donovan Holt has been arrested in the state of Texas for the homicide of April Holt. He is being transported back to Tennessee, And so, that is the update for now. We do have him in handcuffs, and he is being transported back. So, now we're just waiting for the next steps. Donovan was transported from Texas to Tennessee and held on a $75,000 bond pending an arraignment hearing scheduled for October 23rd. After further speaking with the Nashville Cold Case Unit, any remaining ambiguity in the case was finally resolved. The 33-year-old told police the exact same horrific version of events that he had conceded to his former mother-in-law. He admitted that he had angrily strangled his wife in the heat of an argument, a moment of uncontrolled rage. To conceal the heinous crime, he had then dragged her into the shower, chillingly positioned the plastic bag over her head, and taped it firmly in place. Then, in a truly disturbing sequence of events, he left her there to make lunch for their son, Denzel. Only after Denzel had eaten did he ask him to check on his mother, initiating the call for an ambulance. April's children are now safely with their grandmother, Jamie, who has reported that they are doing as well as one could possibly expect under such profoundly traumatic circumstances. Some days are, inevitably, better than others. Jamie has publicly thanked her vast network of supporters on social media for their unwavering support for her and the family throughout this horrific ordeal. Her fight, it seems, is not quite over. Jamie is currently campaigning vigorously to have the murder charge against Donovan increased from reckless homicide to first-degree murder. Believing justice demands a harsher charge, she also advocates for the addition of child endangerment to these charges. Given Denzel's exposure to the crime, Jamie stated her ongoing determination. "I should have a new DA, which will be my third one now. Sometime next week, that will be assigned to this case. And so I will just be on them and making sure that I can do everything that I can to get these charges increased." That was the tragic and incredibly unsettling story of April Lynn Holt. Thank you once again for joining me. I'm Tony Stone. This is Killer Confessions, and I'll see you in the next one.